And what is up, guys? Technical Tinkers here, checking in on the 3D print operation for today. If you're unfamiliar and new to the channel, welcome. I own a business that has nothing to do with 3D printing, but I got interested in it and I'm trying to do it at home to see if I can generate sales. So I'm trying a bunch of different things, art, functional, whatever. And if I can prove the concept, hopefully I can scale it up. So subscribe to the channel, follow along in this process. I'm a novice, I make a lot of mistakes, but I appreciate all you guys' suggestions in the comments telling me how to operate these damn things. So what am I working on today? Well, if you've been following the series, you know that I've got these big cobras up here, and that's why I have cobras, because they're big. Finishing up the slide section here on one of the big, I do a big Glock model. All the other ones are quiet. Well, this one's about to finish up. I'm doing rolling trays. And I've been trying to keep my printers running constantly, because if they're not running, you're not making money. And these rolling trays, I'm doing them as like a promo giveaway item in my store. So basically move them at make like $1 per. It's a good way to burn up filament spools because I'm not choosing on the color or the quality really. It's kind of a loss leader sort of thing. Over here on the P1P, you see our big turkey, because I'm having Thanksgiving here and it's like a centerpiece sort of thing. Down here on the Soval, have the magazine sort of bottom and the trigger for the big Glock. Look at that. Talk about perfect timing. And a lot of people asking about the Soval, saying they have problems with it. It's been tried and true for me. I haven't experienced any real problems out of it yet, but it remains to be seen. And over here on the A1, we're doing a discharge shoot for the P1P. It discharges out of the back when it does flushing of the filaments, and you get all these little, a lot of people refer to this as the P word, but I don't use that word because it's an ugly word. I call it discharge or flush, and it kind of shoots out the back here, and I just sweep it up every so often. If you've been following the series, you know I've got the Orange Storm Giga coming, and I was mentioning yesterday that I'm not going to be able to get up to these Cobras because right there where that tape is, that's how far out the Giga is going to come. And I'm not going to be able to reach back there. A lot of good suggestions coming in. Thank you for that. Saying put the rack on wheels or just move it out or something along those lines. I don't really want to do that because I don't want to be hovering over the Giga or have anything like big gantry system moving around over my brand new Orange Storm Giga. I kind of want to leave it undisturbed. And so I've been thinking about it, and I was kind of what do I really do about this? So here I have these two Cobras on top, bamboos in the middle, and this shelf down here with only the Soval. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take out this middle shelf, take the Soval, put it up there. I can still get to it with the ladder. And I'm gonna put the two Cobras down here. So that gives me plenty of room for the Cobras. It has basically everything in one area except the Soval up there. I can still get to it. The Soval, if I need to take it down, at least the Soval has handles on it, and it's Core XY, so it's a little easier to manipulate than one of these Cobras. And that's kind of what necessitated printing the discharge chute for the P1P, because if I've got a Cobra down there, I can't have the P1P, dropping its discharge down onto the Cobra below. So my plan is to put a discharge chute on it and bring it out the side and put a little trash can here, because these discharge chutes that I've seen for printing, they're always so small, and it makes me think I guess most people are printing little teeny models, and you have just a few little discharge things. I have mountains of this stuff because I do the biggest ultra multicolored prints that I can, and I'm not cleaning that out every day. Just discharge it straight into the garbage. So that's what's going on in here. I got a lot of really great suggestions for my cult model, these large models that I do. Because this one, there was no way I'm going to be able to ship it for less than $300, because it's going to go into an oversized box because it's big. It's 4 feet long tip to tip. And so I'm still trying to tool with the model, and a couple nice kind people have offered to take a stab at it to see if they can retool the model. That way when I ship it, it's in 2 parts, and unfortunately the customer will have to bring it together, but I can always adjust the price to compensate for that, because if it's that much cheaper, then, what the hell if someone has to turn a little screw to affix the model together or snap it together or something like that. I'm not too worried about that, so long as it's not an excessive amount of assembly for the customer, because that is an art print. But, 1 screw or something like that, not too big of a deal. But I think the best idea thus far, someone came through with a very good idea of using magnets. I'm not considered magnets before, but I did a little research and I bought some N52 neodymium magnets to kind of put them into the model on the 2 sides and join them together. Now, my real question is like, you know, do I include a little bottle of super glue and say like, hey, you should probably glue this together, or just do it magnetically? My plan is to design the model with, you know, probably 4 points, because it's really just where the barrel contacts the, here, let me just point it. Why don't, you've got a perfect illustration here. I'll just point up there where the barrel comes, where the barrel comes into the rest of the body. Probably 4 points of contact where magnets will be mated together, and that, you know, overwhelming force will kind of hold them. Now, I have considered that the magnets will be exerting pressure on the plastic, and so over time, the weight, if it's not suspended correctly, the plastic's going to start to give, and those points that are being held together will protrude, and then the model will start to separate. And so I'm thinking in my mind, as I do the redesign, of compensating for that. Additionally, you have to affix the magnets into the plastic very sturdily, or they'll just rip out of the plastic because they're going after each other. So my plan is to either cut a section off of each side and print that with like 100% infill, or not 100%, but a very heavy infill, and put the magnet behind it, glue that to the rest of the body, same on the other side, and when they mate, they've got this very sturdy plate between them, and all that force is going onto those plates, and that broader surface area will contact the rest of the model and thus keep it together. Or I could just kind of cut out some recesses, you know, very heavily use some kind of heavy adhesive in there, just a shitload of super glue with baking soda or something like that, like the paste, and epoxy, something easy and quick, but just to keep those in there, just to keep them from, you know, compromising the structural integrity of the model as it's being pulled together. So if anyone has any experience using magnets to hold together pieces of, you know, well, it's because it's more than just holding together a model. There's a lot of stress. Now the model isn't very heavy, but the leverage, you know, it's long. So, and it's not a lot of weight, but when you put that much weight out to one side, if someone picks it up to play with it and they're swinging it all around, that exertion on those magnets, you know, the magnets aren't going to hold that. It's gonna come flying off. So that's why I was thinking, like, should I just put it on there and say, hey, just use the magnets, it's fine. But if you plan on swinging around when you get 3 sheets to the wind, maybe you're gonna want to put a little dollop of super glue on there just to kind of hold it together. It's just, you know, how far do I really want to go with that? Some other people suggesting like snaps. You know, one of the people who's helping me out with this is like working on like a snap design, which would be nice. My only concern with the snaps is that it would have to be like, there'd have to be zero tolerance in there when it snapped together. It would have to snap and pull, because if there was any degree of, I guess, space between the snap barb and the model it's snapping into, then it's gonna kind of do this. It's gonna be like a very small gap that opens up unless the snaps are tight. So I'm not too sure about the snap method. Screws obviously would work well, but it would require me to put in a heat set, like a threading of some sort, or just go all the way through the model with a washer and bolt. But then, of course, I would have to make sure that the infill or the wall loops are very heavy in order to absorb that force, because if the wall's, you know, super duper thin, even with the washer spreading out the force, it's just gonna rip right through if someone gets 3 sheets to the wind and starts swinging it around. So I'm trying to think of all those things. I do not want a model that breaks. I do not want a model that has any issues, but I'm gonna have to break it up, and I'm just trying to figure out the best way. So I'd love to know what you think of those ideas that have been swirling around in my head. I did order some magnets, so I'm gonna do a little test on it. Probably make just like use like a smaller version of the Colt Python, and then just trying to, like, you know, sit here and manipulate it and think about, probably shouldn't do this, how, you know, that force would translate into a model that's scaled up 260%. And at this point in the video, I'm gonna kick it over to my future self in the morning to see how it all worked out. And it is the next morning, so let's check in and see what happened. A little bit of a jump on my reorganization. I took the Sovol, put it up there, took that Cobra, put it down here, and that's about as far as I got, because this printer, the P1P, was still going, Cobra 2 was still going. I wasn't trying to make too many modifications, and the A1 was going without, because I didn't want to bump or upset anything, but everything is done, nothing's moving. So let's check in. We got our big turkey here. This finished about 30 minutes ago, so it's nice and cool. Let's see if he pops off. Yeah, this model definitely optimized. It didn't even really need supports, but I saw it was, if I enabled them, it put a few in place. And I'm like, you know, what the hell? Let's go ahead and make sure he comes out all right. So there's our Turkey, I'm not sure about the Groucho Marx eyebrows, but I left him in. Obviously, he's mad. He's telling people to leave. So this will go well with Thanksgiving dinner this year. You stay there. This is the discharge chute for the P1P because, as I was saying earlier in the video, the Cobra's going to be down there, and you can see all the flush comes out. So ideally, this will kind of make it come out the back. And what I did is I took the model and just deleted this side of it, and that way I can put it over here on the edge, and it will kind of force everything off the side. And I'm going to print another little piece to kind of have it continue its journey down into this garbage can over here on Cobra number 2. These finished up, looking pretty good. Used the UJoy Bio copper metallic PLA. It's not as coppery as maybe the Overture stuff, but you know, hey, if you're into that, it does have a little bit of a sheen to it. So check that out, link in the description below. Name of the game today is to probably work. I've got some actual appointments to get to today. I'm not sure how much time I can really devote to doing this, but before I have to go to them, because it's early, it's 2:30 in the morning. I got a few hours to kind of work on this. Plan being, put Cobra 3 over here. We'll clean this up. Cobra 3 over here, Cobra 4 right there. Get it all set up, run through and, you know, tune them up and everything. Scooch P1P forward, make some room over here, adjust this rack, verify the discharge chute thing sort of works, get the Sobalt back up and running, do the maintenance on Cobra 3, fix the tool head, and then probably clean up this table and get ready for our Orange Storm Giga. Back here in the office, we got our big Glock all printed up. The top that I redid, looking good. If you remember from a few episodes ago, I had this sort of bubbling here on top, and so I don't even remember. I saved the file, luckily, but I'm not sure exactly what I did. Maybe just up the infill. Let's do the weight test. Yeah, I upped the infill. That's definitely what it was. So for this model, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to print this lower in green to replace the green one that I had, because that one always had the most amount of views and likes and favorites and whatever in Etsy, just to replace that one. So I'll probably tape off these black parts, paint the lower, paint the upper, smack her together, get her back up there. All our rolling trays here, which I've been doing kind of just like in the interim, I think I got like 20 something, 30 here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these in probably this weekend and drop them off so they can start giving them away at one of the stores just to see if people like them. A couple more things I want to make some progress on is I am sending this back today. I got it on Amazon, this Revo Point Mini 2. I mentioned a few episodes ago, I got this 3D scanner to scan things, but it's really tuned up to scan small stuff, like really small stuff. So like if something like this big, it's gonna be able to scan, but it can't really do medium stuff all that well. So I'm looking at another 3D scanner. Appreciate all the comments and suggestions. One of my favorite commenters was saying, don't get the Creality, because I mentioned like I wanted to get the Creality because they're a big company, and he's like, well, Imstar and Revo Point, you know, they're the big scanning companies. My point more so in that was Creality is overall a bigger company. So I don't know, I didn't look too deeply Imstar and Revo Point if they do anything other than 3D scanners. It's nice to have a company specialized in 3D scanners. But it was more so a broader concept of like Creality is going to be around. So like if Imstar, if something doesn't work out, like they release a new model and there's something terribly wrong with it, then there's maybe a risk there that they'll go out of business. Creality is not, because they sell printers, filament, all kinds of other bullshit. So that was more so my thinking in line with like, you know, should I go for the Raptor or should I go for something else? But I'm going to give it a few days because I emailed Imstar and Revo Point to see if they'll send me a free one. I'm doing the media thing, and you know, it's worked before. It's worked on my other channel. If I just reach out and be like, hey, I make videos, my channel's not big, I get some views, do you want to send me a free thing? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Never hurts to ask. So I sent out a couple emails to their marketing departments and be like, if you want to send me a free, I don't want to pay for it, I will feature it. I'm a vlog channel, just very, you know, transparent about things. Like, you know, this is what I plan to do. And maybe they'll get back, maybe they don't. So then I'll hear back from them in like a day or something like that. Then yeah, I'll probably go ahead and make a decision, pull the trigger, but still keep your comments and suggestions coming on what 3D scanner that you think would work best for me. Because again, I'm looking to scan stuff that's like, you know, this big, you know, it's probably like a foot long, by like maybe 8 inches high, or stuff that's like this big, like the car. So that's, you know, like 18, something like that, or even bigger, something that I can operate handheld. I will say that I am sort of enchanted by the Morocco because it's all sort of a self-contained unit. I don't have to link it back to a computer or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever. It just kind of self-contains in there, and I really like that because I can just kind of take it on the go. Again, if I'm scanning complex structures, I can just take it, scan, and then take it back, upload the file, you know, dump the file, and then begin my work. And finally, one of the more exciting things that's kind of happened is, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know I did these character models, and I kind of quit talking about them because they are racy, they're adult themed. But I think they're cool. They paint up really nice. I like the designer. I like the overall design because it's not like anime really, but it's not like super realistic to where, you know, because when you try to print something that's like photorealistic, it never really kind of looks right. So I kind of dig this sort of vibe. I haven't sold any of these, but they do get a lot of likes and a lot of views on Etsy. But I quit talking about them because people, they don't want to see that kind of stuff, or it's goes against their whatever. But I did ask the designer if she could make one that was a little like less racy, but to where the model is enjoying herbal things, because I've got this other business, they're smoke shops, and I thought, you know, it might be cool to have these models as if just decoration, you know, in like a display case or in a display tower or on, you know, the showcase, where the model's clothed and doesn't have like some kind of device or apparatus being inserted into her, that's just a little more PG-13, but where the model is like smoking. And she was able to put one out, and it's right here. I think it's super duper cool. I'm doing some initial painting on it now. So now that the P1P is free, done printing our turkey, hopefully I can spend today doing some painting on that, getting it set up and getting a model started to print, because I think it's pretty cool. I think it would, you know, maybe bode well, because if people are in that culture, that lifestyle, they like having that kind of decor maybe, and they think it was cool. You know, maybe some of the male patrons or female patrons might enjoy having one of those, and if I can print it and sell it locally, then, you know, that's it's a lot easier to do that because I can just stamp them out and send them there. So gonna be working on that today. Gonna be probably continuing with that through the weekend. Love to know what you're working on this weekend. Give me all your functional print ideas so I can steal them, and let me know generally what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's a nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.